Hey guys, it's Nate from FreeFly. Today I'm going to show you how to conduct a bridge scan with the Emescent Hovermap STX on Astro. The Hovermap is a great platform for creating detailed maps of difficult to reach areas. It uses a SLAM system to update its positioning, and it allows Astro to fly in complex environments, providing obstacle avoidance even in GPS denied environments. If you haven't configured Astro already, take a look at our wiki or Emescent's customer portal to see how to set up your Astro. You need to install the bracket and cable, configure Hovermap to work via Ethernet, and install the Commander app on the Pilot Pro tablet. More information on how to do this can be found in the Astro wiki or on Emescent's customer support portal. Alright, so we're here on location and we're ready to get Hovermap in the air. So the first thing I'm going to do is make sure that my Wi-Fi is turned off so that the tablet doesn't try to connect with Hovermap over Wi-Fi, it tries to connect over Ethernet. So the next thing we'll do is open up AMC. We'll go ahead and check and make sure that we are in position mode. We've got good GPS lock, and we are using the optional FPV module today. So I'll go ahead and start that recording. Next, I'm going to jump over to the Commander app. And you can see that we've connected here on the Ethernet icon. So if it's connected over Wi-Fi, you'll lose connection shortly after you take off as the drone goes out of range. But if you're using Ethernet, you should be able to maintain connection through the drone's radio link. So we'll go ahead and click a assisted or autonomous mission. We'll work our way through the pre-mission checks. So we want to make sure that the LiDAR sensor is clean, that we've mounted the Hovermap securely on Astro and it's not going to come off during the flight. We don't have any Wi-Fi antennas for this. So we are using the STX model, but because we're transmitting through the Ethernet connection to Astro and we're using Astro's radio link, we don't need to worry about Wi-Fi antennas. We're using the Pilot Pro tablet, so I'm going to go ahead and check that off. And then we're going to check and make sure. It looks like we have about 83% on Pilot Pro, which is definitely enough for a flight, so we'll go ahead and click that. Our batteries are sufficient for our planned scan. Looks like we're at 100% on both, which is great. We'll do a quick propeller inspection to make sure we're good to go. We'll make sure our takeoff area is clear and we're facing away from ourselves. We don't need to change any of the networking on Astro because it's already connected. Next up, I'm going to set my obstacle avoidance boundaries. So I'm going to set my horizontal to about 3 meters. This gives us a good standoff distance from the bridge while still maintaining a good safety bubble. Hovermap can create very detailed scans from even 10 meters away from an object. So you don't need to get super close to objects in order to get the data that you're looking for. I've set my above and below to 1.6 meters, and this allows us to fly under the bridge and still maintain a good safety distance. You can decrease these parameters if you need to fit into very tight spaces, but just remember that you're decreasing the safety bubble around the aircraft. In general, I would not go below about 1.5 meters above or below, or horizontal. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move my S2 switch into the full up position on Pilot Pro. And you can see that we're now in Hovermap mode. So this allows Hovermap to take control of the aircraft and fly it around. If at any point I want to remove Hovermap from control of Astro and I want to take over as the pilot, I can move the S2 switch to the middle or down position. And that gives me control to then press position, manual, or altitude mode and fly the drone home. We'll hit continue. We're going to name our scan bridge scan for today, and I'm going to make sure that we have adequate space. It looks like we have over 50%, so that should be good. What we'll do is start the LiDAR spinning and initialize the Hovermap's position in space. So it takes about 20 to 30 seconds for this, and then it'll give us a OK when it's ready to go.
Hovermap ready. Hovermap ready.
We'll hit continue here.
Hovermap ready.
And you can see the system's already picking up point clouds from around us. I'll go ahead and click up here just so that we center our view on the aircraft, and you can see it's already picking up the power lines above us, which is great. So I want to be careful not to fly into those. So I'm going to go ahead and do a split screen view, so I'll just minimize that, and then we'll open up
Hovermap ready.
our side-by-side view here. Go ahead and close the map, and we're ready to take off. So I'm going to go ahead and arm Astro and then let Hovermap take off.
Onboard flight mode. Houston mode.
And you want to be careful flying over large bodies of water because you can have a slam slip occur. Now, in this case, I'm sticking close to the shoreline, so we know that there's good features for Hovermap to track onto. Alright, so I'm just going to go ahead and fly around and try to get all the little nooks and crannies of this bridge here. So one important thing to remember is that I don't actually need to fly super close to stuff in order to get good scans. You can see about 12 meters away from this bridge here based on the shields, and you can see that the point cloud data is coming in. The point cloud that you see on the screen is a fairly trimmed down version of the actual scan data that's being captured, so there's much more data here than is shown in the preview point cloud. So I'm in assisted mode. You can see up at the top that I'm running in pilot assist. So I'm using my sticks just to fly around normally like I would in position mode. And the shield is active, meaning that Hovermap is creating a bubble around Astro. So if I tried to run into something, Astro would slow down and stop. You can see the shield numbers are updating in real time in each direction where there's an obstacle. And you'll see later in the flight that I get close to a tree, actually, and Hovermap stops Astro and prevents it from flying into the object. So I'm going to do some passes on the bridge from a couple different heights and angles. This helps Hovermap get a very detailed scan of the structure from multiple different angles so it can piece together a really good point cloud. One other thing to mention on the safety side of things, if for whatever reason you need to take control of Astro and you want to take Hovermap out of the equation, let's say you had a slam slip and you're seeing some drift, or Hovermap is intermittently losing connection or anything like that, you switch that S2 switch to the down position. Astro, if it has GPS, will go into position mode, and if not, will go into altitude mode. And then from there, you can take over and either fly home in altitude or position mode, go to manual mode, initiate a GPS RTL, whatever you need to do. In the Commander app, you can see a timer ticking down on the upper left-hand side of the screen right now, and this is the estimated time until Hovermap will trigger the low battery RTL. So if you're familiar with Astro, it RTLs at about 17% battery, but Hovermap is smart enough to know where it is relative to the home point and how long it's going to take to come home. And it will initiate automatic RTL using the map that it's created to fly around objects on its way back home when that timer gets to approximately 0. And you'll see that later in the flight. So you can see there my shield engaged as I was getting close to an object and prevented me from running into it, which is great. Alright, so you can see right there that Hovermap is triggering the low battery failsafe. So we get about 43% here. You can see Hovermap has paused and is calculating its route back to home. So it's going to follow that purple trajectory all the way back home to us.
SAR. Hovermap ready. Position flight mode.
And then we'll go ahead and
Low
stop our
battery.
scan.
22% remaining.
We'll give it a couple of seconds for that to shut off, and then we'll head back to the office to wrap up processing the data. All right, so we're back at the office, and I'm going to go ahead and fire up the Commander app. I have also got Astro powered on and Hovermap booted up. When Hovermap connects, we'll go ahead and open up the web UI, and we can see that our scan has shown up there, bridge scan _3, but we don't have a USB stick mounted. So the next thing is to plug in a USB stick into the back of the Hovermap. Once we do that, we can see that it shows up in the Commander app, and it starts copying the scan over automatically. We'll wait a little bit for this to complete, and then we'll pull the USB stick out of the back of the Hovermap and bring it over to our PC. In our PC, we've opened up the Aurora app. We'll go to the Process tab and click Process Scan. Then we'll add the data set that we just downloaded. And we can see that it's automatically chosen the STX profile, and we're just going to use the default settings. They work pretty well. We'll hit start, and we'll wait for that to process. Once it's processed, we can open it up in the Visualize tab, and here is what our data set looks like. So right away, we can see lots of detail. It covered a much bigger area than we actually flew around in, which is due to the 300-meter range on the laser. So we can see it picked up the power lines, which is awesome. We didn't even get very close to those, but it's still rendered a pretty good estimate of where those are at, which is great. And we'll start zooming in here to take a look at some details. So I'm not going to be doing any real analysis in this tutorial, but we can see we got a huge amount of detail on the bridge itself, as well as the surrounding foliage and support structure, that sort of thing. So this looks really good. You can see there is a small area where there's a rope hanging from below the bridge, and that got scanned in multiple places. But aside from that, things are looking really good here. As we continue to orbit around, you can see that there's a lot of detail on both the top and bottom of the bridge. We didn't have to fly inside the bridge in order to get a bunch of detail on all of the different supporting structure. You can now take these .las files and import them into your favorite software of choice. That's where we're going to wrap it up for today. Thanks for watching.